Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're not just running through the history of a superhero.
No, not at all.
We're diving deep into the incredible, sprawling, and, surprisingly central legacy of The Flash. For you, our listener, who shared this amazing stack of sources, comics, TV, movies, alternate realities, the works in our mission is pretty clear.
Yeah.
We want to uncover why this character isn't just some hero who runs fast. He's arguably the very engine of the DC Universe's constant evolution.
That's a great way to put it, the engine.
Prepare to have your understanding of DC's history maybe completely recalibrated.
And what's truly compelling here, when you look across all these continuities, all these adaptations, the Flash consistently serves as this narrative constant. His story isn't merely part of DC's history.
Right.
His unique powers, his personal tragedies, even his family.
Yeah.
They're repeatedly, and I think deliberately, used.
As the catalyst.
Exactly. As the in-universe catalyst for the publisher's real-world need to manage or reboot or just reflect upon its own incredibly complex continuity.
Wow.
We'll explore how his deeply personal journey kind of mirrors the publisher's own attempts to reconcile its past with its present. It makes his lore the very framework, really, of the modern DC universe.
That's a profound way to frame our journey today. We're going to trace this thread, starting with the prime comic book continuity.
The foundation.
Then see how it translates and, transforms across the Arrowverse, the DC Extended Universe, the DC animated stuff, and even that dark reality of the Injustice saga. And in each case, you'll discover how the Flash isn't just reacting to events. He's often causing the major shifts that define the entire universe around him.
He's the linchpin, time and again.
So let's kick off part 1, the prime comic book continuity. This is where the Flash truly became the architect of the multiverse and redefined what a superhero legacy could even be.
It's a fascinating evolution, and it starts right at the dawn of the superhero genre, really.
Our journey begins way, way back, January 1940. Jay Garrick, the original Flash, makes his debut in Flash Comics #1.
The OG.
Exactly. Before Barry, before Wally, there was Jay. He was a college student who got his powers from accidentally inhaling, get this, hard water vapors.
Hard water. Sounds very Golden Age, doesn't it?
Right. Almost too convenient. But this kind of quaint origin, it was later retconned, retroactively changed in the story.
The retcon.
Yeah.
Comic book staple.
To the slightly more scientific-sounding heavy water. But this isn't just trivia.
No, it's significant.
It's an early foundational example of DC's ever-evolving canon. It shows us that even the very first stories aren't totally set in stone.
Constantly refining.
So Jay donned that iconic red shirt, the bold lightning bolt, and that really distinct stylized metal winged helmet, a relic from his father's World War I service, apparently.
That helmet is iconic, instantly recognizable.
It was a look that immediately established him, not just as a hero, but as the striking public figure in his world.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Jay Garrick didn't just fight this colorful array of villains, the Thinker, the Fiddler, the Shade.
Classic names.
He was also instrumental in co-founding the very first superhero team in comics history, the Justice Society of America, the JSA.
Debuting in All-Star Comics, huge deal.
He was even their first chairman, which raises a critical question for us.
Why was the JSA so important, beyond just being the first team up?
Exactly. Why was it so incredibly crucial, not just narratively, but for the whole burgeoning comic book industry? Well, it was a direct result of the publisher's evolving commercial strategy.
Oh, interesting. A business angle.
Totally. There was actually a rule back then. Any character popular enough to get their own solo title would graduate from the team book. They become honorary members.
So All-Star Comics was like a launch pad.
Precisely. An incubator, a proving ground. It demonstrated the huge commercial power of superhero teams as launch pads for individual heroes. Jay was one of the first to prove this model worked.
He graduated, basically.
He did. He eventually left the active JSA roster to headline his own title, All Flash Comics. So his departure wasn't just a story beat. It was a significant business event for the industry, influencing how superhero teams would be structured for decades.
Then after World War II, superhero popularity kind of dipped, right?
Automatically. Yeah.
And Jay's original run ended in 1949. Flash Comics, #104. But, and this is crucial, this wasn't the end for Jay Garrick.
Not by a long shot.
It was just the prologue, the start of his much larger meta-narrative significance. He becomes central to how DC deals with its own history later on.
Indeed. Jay Garrick's incredible journey. Think about it. From an active hero in his own time to being a fictional character within the comics read by the next generation.
Meta.
Then revealed as a hero from a parallel world.
Sure, too.
And finally becoming this elder statesman in a unified, complex timeline.
Wow.
His entire arc perfectly mirrors DC's ongoing attempts to reconcile his past. His history, when you really break it down, is a microcosm of DC continuity itself.
That's amazing. It shows the publisher wrestling with its own legacy through him.
Exactly. It illustrates their perpetual struggle and eventual, often ingenious, success in weaving together these disparate eras. It's a testament to Jay's enduring appeal that he could adapt to such massive meta shifts.
Okay, flash forward appropriately enough to October 1956. DC revives The Flash in Showcase #4.
And the Silver Age ignites.
This isn't just another comic, it's widely credited with kicking off the Silver Age of comic books, a huge creative explosion for the genre.
A total game changer for superheroes.
This time, our hero is Bartholomew Henry Barry Allen, a police scientist, struck by lightning, drenched in chemicals in his lab. Classic Silver Age origin.
Right, updated for a new era. But what's truly ingenious here, and a clear sign of that meta-narrative architecture Flash would embody, Barry was openly inspired by Jay Garrick, his favorite childhood comic book character.
No way.
Yes. He read Jay's adventures as a kid, and that inspired him to become the Flash.
That's brilliant. It's like fictional continuity mirroring real-world legacy. The heroes inside the DC universe read their own history.
Precisely. It's a beautiful, self-referential moment that grounds the reboot in the past.
So Barry's world quickly expands. Central City, his relationship with reporter Iris West.
And the villains. This era was incredibly fertile. It introduced his iconic rogues gallery.
Captain Cold, Mirror Master, Gorilla Grodd, Captain Boomerang, Abracadabra.
A unique collection. You called them blue-collar supercriminals earlier, and that fits. They had this distinct code of honor, weird rule.
Almost like a union, yeah. Always trying to outsmart Barry, not just, blast him.
They formed a fascinating counterpoint to Barry's straightforward heroism. But maybe the most enduring and deeply personal adversary from this era.
Has to be Reverse Flash, Professor Zoom.
Hubert Thawne, yeah. Debuted in The Flash, #139, started as Barry's biggest fan from the 25th century.
A fanboy gone wrong? Seriously.
Yeah. He travels back in time, discovers his destiny is actually to be Barry's greatest enemy. And that obsession just twists into this murderous, all-consuming hatred.
Chilling.
It sets up this profound, deeply personal, often heartbreaking rivalry that echoes through decades of stories, fundamentally shaping Barry's life and, honestly, the very fabric of the DC universe.
And it's in this very era, just a few years into Barry's run, that we get maybe the single most important event in DC's entire world building, a total game changer.
You're talking about Flash of Two Worlds.
The Flash, #123, September 1961. This wasn't just a fun team-up. This was literally the blueprint for the DC multiverse.
It absolutely was.
Yeah.
A key takeaway from this pivotal issue, Barry Allen, just running, vibrates his molecules accidentally at a specific frequency.
As you do.
Right, and somehow travels to a parallel dimension and meets a very real older Jay Garrick.
Whoa, so Jay wasn't just a comic character in Barry's world anymore.
Exactly. This story made him real, existing on a parallel Earth. This wasn't just an exciting crossover. It was the foundational text for DC's entire cosmological structure for the next 25 years.
It established the multiverse.
The multiverse. The idea that multiple Earths, each with its own history, its own heroes, existed side by side.
Okay, so this explained the Golden Age guys like Jay.
As residents of Earth 2.
And the Silver Age heroes like Barry.
On Earth 1.
Yeah.
Now, think about it. Before this, Jay was just fiction in Barry's world. This story provided the in-universe architecture.
The framework.
That allowed DC to preserve its entire character history while simultaneously rebooting its major properties for a new generation. It was brilliant.
So the Flash isn't just part of the multiverse.
He's the architect. The very concept that defined DC Comics for decades came directly from his story. His lore didn't just run through the DC universe. His lore literally created the framework for it.
That's incredible. A way to manage all that history.
An elegant solution, really.
And then, almost immediately, this idea of the Flash legacy gets cemented. Wally West, Iris's nephew,
becomes Kid Flash.
After a second, near-identical lightning and chemical accident in The Flash, #110. Like lightning really likes striking twice around the West Allen family.
It seems statistically improbable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that sets up the Flash family.
So we're already seeing this idea forming a lineage not just of powers, but of heroism itself, passed down.
You've hit on something crucial there. The idea of the mantle being passed down, this generational dynasty of speedsters, it starts right here.
Setting the stage.
Exactly. Setting the stage for future generations, ensuring the legacy of the Flash would endure far beyond any single individual. It transforms the Flash from just a person into this enduring ideal.
Okay, so as we move into the Bronze Age of comics, roughly, what, early 70s to mid-80s?
Yeah, that's about right.
The storytelling in The Flash started getting darker, more mature, reflecting comics changing, grappling with more complex stuff.
Definitely a shift across the industry.
And the pivotal event for Barry during this period? Man, it was rough. The brutal murder of his wife, Iris West.
By Professor Zoom. The Flash, #275.
Thawne vibrated his hand right into her head at a costume party. Just horrific. Truly shocking for readers back then. Barry was absolutely devastated.
It wasn't a typical villain defeat. It was deeply personal, incredibly violent for the time. It irrevocably changed Barry's world, pushed the boundaries of what could happen to a major hero.
And that tragedy set the stage for one of the most, I guess, ambitious storylines of the era.
The Trial of the Flash, yeah. A multi-year arc. Ran from the Flash, #323 to #350.
Wow, years.
Years. And this represented a significant deconstruction of that classic, kind of squeaky clean Silver Age hero.
How so?
Well, when Thawne reappeared, threatening Barry's new fiancée, Fiona Webb, on their wedding day.
Oh, no.
Barry, just consumed by desperation, terrified of history repeating, he chased Thawne down, and in this moment of extreme anguish, he broke his neck.
He killed him. Barry Allen.
He killed him. A direct, shocking violation of the heroic code. It pushed the Flash into this morally gray area that was almost unheard of for a hero like him back then.
What happened then?
A public trial for manslaughter. His conviction. His decision to retire and flee to the 30th century to be reunited with a resurrected Iris. It was truly pioneering stuff.
Exploring the fallout.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The psychological, the societal consequences of being a superhero, grappling with justice, responsibility, the limits of heroism. It predated more famous deconstructionist works like Watchmen or Dark Knight Returns.
So Flash was kind of ahead of the curve on that.
In many ways, yes.
Yeah.
It positioned him right at the forefront of a major thematic shift in the genre, asking, what happens when a hero crosses that line?
It's a heavy burden for any character. And that burden only grew, right? Because next comes 1985.
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
The massive 12-issue series designed to streamline DC's continuity by basically nuking the multiverse.
The very multiverse he helped create.
Exactly. So when you're talking about eliminating the multiverse, who else could be at the absolute center of that cosmic storm?
It felt almost inevitable, didn't it?
Totally. Given his history as its architect.
It absolutely did. Barry Allen, remember, he'd already retired to the future?
Right.
But he was tragically pulled back into this all-encompassing conflict. And his final defining moment, a moment of ultimate sacrifice, came in Crisis on Infinite Earths, #8.
What did he do?
He escaped capture by the Anti-Monitor, the big bad of the series, discovered the villain's ultimate weapon, this antimatter cannon, poised to destroy the 5 remaining Earths.
Okay.
To stop it, he had to run faster than he ever had before, pushing way past his limits, entering the Speed Force itself.
The Speed Force, which wasn't even fully defined yet, was it?
Not like it would be later, no.
Yeah.
But he entered this energy field, created a vortex of pure energy, and successfully destroyed the weapon. But the strain. It was just too much for his physical form. It disintegrated his body. All that was left was his empty costume and ring. Barry Allen died. Definitively. Heroically. Saving all of reality.
So the hero who essentially created the multiverse
Was also the one whose sacrifice was needed to destroy it.
That's confession, perfect cosmic symmetry. A powerful bookend to his story and the whole multiverse era.
His life and death literally bookend the entire 25-year multiverse era of DC Comics. It makes his personal story inseparable from the story of the DC Universe's very structure.
But it raises that question, what happens after such a definitive ending? The architect is gone, the structure is collapsed into one single reality.
What comes next?
Well, in Crisis on Infinite Earths, #12, the final issue, we saw a grief-stricken Wally West,
A Flash.
who'd actually been cured of this speed-debilitating disease during the event. He overcomes his self-doubt, inspired by Barry's sacrifice.
And steps up.
He puts on Barry's costume, not as an imitation, but as a promise to carry on the legacy.
A heavy burden for a young hero.
The multiverse was gone, collapsed into this single new Earth, and a new era had begun, with Wally stepping into some incredibly big, fast shoes, ready to forge his own path.
In Wally West's initial journey as the Flash, well, it began with him struggling, really struggling under the immense weight of Barry's legacy.
Yeah, I remember that. He wasn't Barry.
He was noticeably slower, for one thing, topping out around the speed of sound initially, constantly hungry because of his metabolism.
The famous Flash appetite.
Exactly. And he often felt like this pale imitation of his legendary mentor, to kind of distinguish himself, maybe even out of youthful defiance.
He did something Barry never did.
He openly revealed his identity to the world, which just added to this sense of him being an outsider trying to fill an irreplaceable void.
Sounds like a tough start, but things changed, right? Dramatically changed with writer Mark Waid's run.
Oh yeah. The seminal run starting in The Flash, Volume 2, #62, this introduced one of the most significant and, I'd argue, successful retcons in comic history.
The Speed Force.
The Speed Force. Can you explain that for us, maybe? How it changed things?
Well, it wasn't just a random chemical accident anymore, was it?
Yeah.
Waid reimagined it
As
this quasi-mystical, extra-dimensional energy field, like a fundamental force of the universe, and the ultimate source of power for all speedsters, past, present, future.
Right. This was a brilliant additive retcon. It didn't erase the past.
It deepened it.
Exactly. It provided this unified theory. It transformed the Flash legacy from just a series of, coincidences.
Right, like the 2 lab accident.
Into this mystical, interconnected lineage. Crucially, it also provided a sort of heaven for speedsters who ran too fast.
A place for them to go.
And, maybe most significantly for future stories, it offered a plausible in-universe mechanism for Barry Allen's eventual return.
Ah, laying the groundwork.
Totally. It showed how comic lore can be retroactively built to serve both past storytelling explaining origins and future narrative needs, like bringing back a beloved dead hero.
So it's not just a power source, it's like a narrative engine in itself.
Perfectly put. And under Waid, and later other great writers like Jeff Johns, Wally's mastery of this speed force just grew exponentially.
He got way more powerful.
Incredible new abilities. He could lend speed to objects, steal speed from opponents.
Didn't he make his costume out of it?
Yeah, create his costume from pure speed force energy, yeah. He eventually surpassed Barry in raw velocity, became the fastest man alive.
Wow.
He truly matured from this kind of immature hothead into a real hero in his own right. That journey culminated in his marriage to reporter Linda Park.
A great relationship in the comics.
And the Flash family also expanded significantly during this time. Bart Allen,
Impulse.
Barry's hyperkinetic grandson from the future, made his debut in The Flash, #92.
Adding another generation.
This era really solidified that multi-generational dynasty, ensuring the legacy continued to run forward. New blood, new challenges, new perspectives.
It cemented the idea that the Flash was a mantle, not just one man.
Absolutely. And that set up profound emotional stakes for future stories.
Yeah.
Solidified the character as this symbol of continuity and progress.
Okay, now. After being dead for an incredible 23 years.
An eternity in comics.
Right. Almost unheard of for a major character. Barry Allen made a truly shocking return from the Speed Force.
During the 2008 event Final Crisis.
And he was fully reestablished in The Flash. Rebirth, that 2009 miniseries by Jeff Johns, which introduced 2 huge retcons to his origin.
Fundamentally altering his history and future, setting the stage for even bigger cosmic shifts.
Okay, what were they?
Well, a key takeaway from Flash. Rebirth is how it redefined Barry's emotional core. First, it was shockingly revealed that Professor Zoom, Eobard Thawne, had traveled back in time and brutally murdered Barry's mother, Nora Allen.
Whoa, that wasn't part of his original origin.
No. And he framed Barry's father for the crime. This gave Barry this new, deeply tragic, intensely personal backstory. His heroism now had this entirely new, painful motivation rooted in seeking justice for his family.
That's huge. And the second retcon?
Second, it established that Barry himself generates the Speed Force with every step he runs.
He creates it.
He's the engine. And that Thawne had created a parasitic negative Speed Force, basically a dark mirror of Barry's power that feeds on the original.
Okay, so new tragic backstory, new understanding of his powers.
And this new motivation, driven by his grief and the desire to protect his loved ones, it ultimately propelled Barry to his most universe-altering decision.
In the 2011 event, Flashpoint, consumed by that newfound grief, Barry did the unthinkable. He ran back in time and stopped Thawne from killing his mother.
He thought he was saving his family.
But he shattered reality itself. What happened? Total chaos.
Precisely. This action unleashed what they called a time boom.
A time boom?
Yeah, that catastrophic ripple effect when you drastically alter the past. It completely shattered the timeline. Barry woke up. His mother was alive. Great. But the world, on the brink of collapse.
What was different?
A dystopian alternate reality. The Amazons and Atlanteans were in this devastating global war. Young Bruce Wayne was killed in that mugging, so his father Thomas became this brutal, gun-toting Batman.
Whoa.
Superman was a frail government captive, never saw the sun. When Barry tried to fix it, this mysterious entity, Pandora,
Right, she was key to the New 52 setup.
explained that 3 timelines, DC, Vertigo, Wildstorm, had to merge to strengthen reality against some future threat.
And then?
He woke up back at his desk. But in a new, drastically altered reality, the New 52, with 10 years of history just erased, the DC universe fundamentally changed.
This just solidifies the Flash's meta-narrative function, doesn't it? His powers are literally the plot device for the publisher to enact its biggest changes.
You've hit on something crucial there. Just like his death in Crisis was the in-universe catalyst for collapsing the multiverse.
Right.
His actions in Flashpoint served as the direct in-universe justification for the publisher's complete line-wide reboot. His powers make him the perfect tool for DC to enact its largest, most consequential real-world editorial decisions.
But it begs the question, what happens when a reboot maybe goes too far? And the fans feel that loss of history.
That's exactly what happened with the New 52 for many.
So in the New 52 continuity, 2011 to 2016, Barry Allen was the main Flash again.
Back in the spotlight.
His origin story had that rebirth retcon mother's murder as his core motivation. We also saw a new Reverse Flash, Daniel West.
Iris's brother in that continuity.
And a reimagined, younger, biracial Wally West, who was later named Wallace, right, to differentiate him.
A subtle nod to the complexity,
Yeah.
But the New 52, it proved quite controversial among longtime readers.
For erasing all that history, all those relationships.
Exactly. That feeling, that fan dissatisfaction, was addressed directly and powerfully in DC Universe. Rebirth #1 in 2016.
The return of the original Wally West.
The original pre-Flashpoint Wally, who'd been tragically trapped inside the Speed Force since the timeline changed. He dramatically returned.
Desperately seeking an anchor. Someone who remembered him.
Before he was just absorbed completely. He failed with Batman. Even his own wife, Linda. She didn't remember him.
Heartbreaking.
Then he reached out to Barry. And Barry, upon hearing Wally's name, suddenly, miraculously, remembered his old sidekick and pulled him back into reality.
And Wally's return brought a massive revelation, didn't it? It wasn't Barry's fault.
Not entirely. The lost 10 years of history weren't just a byproduct of Flashpoint.
So what happened?
The truth was far more insidious. Those 10 years were deliberately stolen by a powerful, unknown entity from outside their universe.
Later revealed to be Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen.
Exactly. Merging those disparate publishing histories, this story, Rebirth, functions as this powerful meta-commentary. Wally West, beloved by fans, erased by the New 52, he literally embodies that lost history.
Wow.
His message doesn't just absolve Barry, it also, kind of by extension, absolves DC Comics of the sin of Flashpoint and the New 52. It served as an in-universe course correction.
Like a meta-narrative apology to the readers.
Precisely. Signaling a return to the publisher's core values. Legacy, hope, the importance of its entire rich history. It was a healing moment, really, for both the characters and the fandom.
So the DC Rebirth era then slowly, carefully brought back classic elements.
Piece by piece.
Culminating in the Infinite Frontier relaunch. Wally West fully reestablished as the main Flash again.
Back where many felt he belonged.
With his wife Linda, their kids Jai and Iray eventually restored to the timeline. Events like Dark Knight's death metal even brought back the infinite multiverse.
Full circle, all history coexisting again.
So the current status quo for the Flash legacy is pretty complete, balanced.
Remarkably so. That generational line that defines the character is fully restored, fully honored. You got Jay Garrick as the respected elder statesman.
The patriarch.
Barry Allen as the seasoned veteran hero. Wally West as the main contemporary Flash. Supported by the vibrant younger generation, Bart Allen as Impulse, Wallace West as Kid Flash.
The whole family running together.
It demonstrates how enduring those themes of legacy and hope are for the character. The Flash, through all these changes, remains this perpetual source of change and rebirth, always embracing the past while racing towards the future.
Okay, we've seen how Flash shaped the comic's structure. Let's pivot to the screen. Starting with the Arrowverse, how did the CW's The Flash translate all this?
Well, the Arrowverse, specifically the Flash series from 2014 to 2023, created its own really rich timeline. It synthesized over 80 years of comic history quite effectively.
Grant Gustin's Barry Allen, introduced on Arrow first, right?
Yeah, then spun off. His origin was updated for the show. CSI gained powers from a STAR Labs particle accelerator explosion during a lightning storm.
Mirrored the comics, but with that modern, techie twist.
Exactly. And Season 1 revolved around that core mystery, his mother's murder, and the shocking revelation that his mentor, Dr. Harrison Wells,
Was Eobard Thawne, the Reverse Flash? Great twist.
a fantastic season-long arc. The series quickly embraced the comic's cosmic scope, too. Season 2 introduced the multiverse via Earth 2.
Where the villain Zoom came from, another speedster threat.
Right. And then in Season 3, the show tackled its own version of Flashpoint, which raises the question, how did it differ from the comic?
Good question. Because it wasn't a universal reboot, like in the comics or the animated movie, was it?
No, exactly. The Arrowverse's Flashpoint was a much more personal story. Barry, after his father's death at the end of Season 2, saves his mother, creates this alternate timeline.
But when he reset it, things weren't quite right.
He found lasting negative effects. A friend's brother had died in the new timeline, and the season's main villain, Savitar,
The evil speedster in the armor.
turned out to be a vengeful time remnant of Barry himself, created by the Flashpoint event.
Whoa. So the consequences were deeply personal to Team Flash.
Precisely. What's fascinating here is how the Arrowverse grounded this huge cosmic concept in the emotional reality of the characters. It used a core piece of Flash lore, Flashpoint, to serve a different narrative function.
A character study.
A season-long character study on grief, responsibility, unintended consequences. It made it incredibly relatable, even with all the sci-fi elements.
Later seasons saw Barry and Iris's future daughter, Nora West Allen.
XS, another legacy character.
And it all culminated in that massive Arrowverse crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Where the Monitor declared Barry Allen must die to save the multiverse. Just like the comics.
But it wasn't Grant Gustin's Flash who made the sacrifice in the end.
No. In this really powerful tribute to the legacy of the Flash on television. The sacrifice was made by the Flash of Earth 90,
Played by John Wesley Shipp.
who portrayed Barry Allen in the 1990 TV series, a beautiful full-circle moment for TV Flash history.
That crossover also had that pivotal scene.
Oh yeah, the big one, where the Arrowverse's Barry Allen met the DCEU's Barry Allen Ezra Miller within the Speed Force.
Officially connecting the film and television universes. Mind blown.
A huge moment for fans. The crisis concluded with the destruction and rebirth of the multiverse, merging the worlds of the Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and others into a single Earth Prime.
So the final seasons dealt with this new reality, creating an artificial Speed Force when the original one died.
Final confrontations with the Reverse Flash, like the Armageddon event.
And the series ended with Barry and Iris welcoming their daughter, Nora, and Barry choosing to share his power to inspire a new generation of heroes.
It really stands as the most comprehensive single adaptation, doesn't it? Synthesizing key elements from over 80 years of comics into its own cohesive, beloved narrative, reflecting those core themes of legacy and hope in a new medium.
Okay, having explored the comics and the Arrowverse, let's shift focus to the big screen again. The DC Extended Universe, the DCEU.
Right, Ezra Miller's portrayal.
Here, Flash's meta-narrative engine takes a different turn, focusing less on cosmic reboots and more on the deeply personal implications of his power.
It's a fascinating pivot, yeah. The DCEU introduced its Barry Allen as younger, more nascent, still figuring things out, struggling with his powers and his past.
Backstory lined up with modern comics, though. Mother Nora murdered. Father Henry wrongfully convicted.
Exactly. That modern origin was key. Gained his powers in 2013, lightning, chemicals, the lab accident. Operated low-key, even nabbed Captain Boomerang before his formal debut in Suicide Squad. Showed his potential early on.
His first major role was Justice League, the 2017 version, and then the 2021 director's cut.
Zack Snyder's Justice League, yeah.
Recruited by Bruce Wayne to fight Steppenwolf, characterized as super smart, witty, but also really socially awkward, insecure.
Almost painfully so at times. Joined the team largely seeking friendship connection.
The director's cut really expanded his abilities, didn't it? Culminating in that insane sequence.
The Speed Force sequence. Running faster than light to reverse time by just a few seconds. preventing Earth's destruction by the mother boxes synchronizing.
It was breathtaking. Show the immense cosmic potential of this flash, hinted at that universe-altering capability.
And that immense power truly culminated in his solo film, 2023's The Flash, which adapted Flashpoint, but with a profoundly different focus.
Right. What's compelling here is how the film used Flashpoint not as this grand reboot mechanism,
Like the comics or the animated movie.
but as the definitive character study for its version of Barry Allen. The central conflict was totally internal.
Barry's struggle with grief, his inability to accept his mother's death.
Driven by that pain, he impulsively goes back, prevents her murder, creates that alternate 2013 timeline. Which leads us to ask, how did that personal motivation shape the consequences rather than just being, a backdrop?
That's the core of it.
Right.
In that alternate 2013, he teams up with a younger, powerless version of himself.
Who never got powers because Barry Prime was there.
An older, grizzled Batman from another universe, Michael Keaton, amazing, and Supergirl, to fight General Zod's invasion.
So the multiversal chaos, the threat to reality, it's all a direct consequence of his internal struggle.
Exactly. It's not the primary focus. It's the dramatic backdrop to a deeply personal story about healing, about trauma. The film really asks, what would you sacrifice for a second chance, and at what cost?
The stakes are cosmic, but the heart is totally Barry's emotional journey.
Precisely. The climax reveals that monstrous dark flash haunting the Speed Force
That thing looked terrifying.
is actually a corrupted, older version of his alternate self, tragically trapped in this causal loop, constantly trying and failing to save his world.
Wow.
Barry's younger counterpart bravely sacrifices himself to break that loop, and Barry Prime finally accepts his past, travels back one last time,
Lets his mother's murder happen.
understanding he can't change the past without devastating consequences. But he makes one small, crucial change.
Moving the tomato can.
Moving the cans in the grocery store aisle. Creates new evidence that ultimately exonerates his father in the present. He returns to a reality that's mostly the same, except for a new Bruce Wayne.
George Clooney cameo. Wild ending.
This adaptation brilliantly prioritized the emotional core of Flashpoint over its meta-narrative function, making it this powerful, self-contained tragedy about acceptance, about letting go.
It really showcased Barry's journey from insecure kid to someone who understands the immense weight of his powers, the delicate fabric of time.
A very focused character arc.
Now let's look at animation. The DC Animated Movie Universe, the DCMU. It offers two distinct continuities, right?
That's right.
And in the first one, Flash's actions literally bookend the entire reality. So for you, our listener, think of it like this tragic closed loop he kind of creates and destroys.
It's a really interesting structure. This universe begins, quite literally, with Justice League, the Flashpoint Paradox from 2013.
A pretty direct adaptation of the comic. Barry goes back, saves his mom.
Creates that dystopian alternate reality we know. When he runs back again to correct his mistake, his actions inadvertently result in the creation of the new, rebooted timeline for the next 14 films in that continuity.
So he actually creates this entire animated universe just from that one act of grief.
In this iteration, yeah, he doesn't just visit a universe, he's the catalyst for its very existence.
He then serves as a founding member of the Justice League, plays key roles in those movies. But then, in the 2020 finale, Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, things get unbelievably brutal.
One of the darkest DC animated films, absolutely. Bleak doesn't even cover it.
After a failed preemptive strike against Darkseid, Earth is just conquered, ravaged, terraformed.
And the Flash is captured, subjected to this truly horrific fate, forced to run on a cosmic treadmill for 2 agonizing years.
Powering Apocalypse itself with his speed.
His super speed agonizingly siphoned. The remaining heroes, broken as they are, mount this desperate final assault, manage to rescue him.
Yeah.
But Earth is irrevocably damaged, population decimated. Billions doomed.
No way to fix it.
No viable options left. So John Constantine and a dying Batman convince Barry to do the unthinkable.
Run back again. Create another Flashpoint.
Exactly. Reset the timeline and mercifully erase their doomed, broken reality from existence. Which raises that profound question.
What does it mean for a hero whose whole thing is saving people to be forced to unmake the reality he inadvertently created?
To be the harbinger of both its birth and its, compassionate yet absolute destruction. Heavy stuff.
So in this continuity, Flash is both the alpha and the omega. His first Flashpoint creates the universe, his second one destroys it. He's the unwitting god of a reality he has to unmake.
It's a powerful, profoundly tragic arc. emphasizes the immense responsibility, the cosmic consequences tied to his speed, paints this poignant picture of him caught in this loop of creation and destruction.
After that devastating reset, a new animated continuity started, right? The Tomorrowverse.
Wisely dubbed the Tomorrowverse, yeah. Began with Superman. Man of Tomorrow in 2020, Barry's already an established hero there.
And this arc heavily features Jay Garrick, the Golden Age Flash.
It does, most notably in Justice Society. World War II from 2021, Barry travels back in time, meets the JSA.
A direct homage to Flash of Two Worlds.
Absolutely, bringing that foundational multiverse-creating moment into animation, which is great to see.
And the Tomorrowverse also concludes with its own Crisis on Infinite Earths adaptation, a three-parter.
It does. Again, placing the Flash squarely at the center of a multiverse-ending conflict, reinforcing his essential, irreplaceable role in DC's big cosmic narratives across every medium. He's always there when reality itself is at stake.
Okay, one more reality to explore, a significantly darker one. The Injustice. Gods Among Us universe.
The video games and the fantastic prequel comics.
This saga presents this compelling, often heartbreaking moral journey for the Flash. From, complicity under a tyrant to eventual quiet redemption.
It's a fascinating character study in shades of gray.
It all kicks off with the Joker tricking Superman into killing a pregnant Lois Lane and nuking Metropolis.
A truly horrific, inciting incident.
A grief-maddened Superman just executes the Joker, establishes this tyrannical One Earth regime to enforce global peace through absolute control.
And Barry Allen, along with many other heroes, initially joins the regime.
Why?
He genuinely believes in Superman's stated goal initially, ending all crime, all war. He sees the desperate good intentions behind the extreme actions, convinced it's the only way to prevent another Metropolis.
But the prequel comics show his doubt growing.
Meticulously over 5 agonizing years, he witnesses Superman's escalating brutality firsthand, crippling a young protester named Galaxor, murdering Green Arrow in cold blood for defying him.
Yet he stays.
Despite his mounting doubts, his internal turmoil, he remains, torn between loyalty to his friend Clark and his growing conscience. It reflects those difficult choices people face under such regimes. He even refuses Batman's plea to use time travel to undo it all.
Saying they have to live with the consequences.
Exactly, however horrific.
So his arc really mirrors that of a citizen under a slowly encroaching fascist state. Starts with good intentions, tolerates abuses, gets paralyzed by fear and doubt.
And ultimately requires an undeniable, horrific atrocity to finally break. It's a very human, very relatable struggle in this world of gods and monsters.
That breaking point comes during the first video game story.
Powerfully so. Heroes from the Prime DC universe arrive. Conflict escalates. A defiant Shazam Billy Batson publicly questions Superman's methods.
And
enraged, murders the boy in cold blood. Blasts heat vision right through his head.
Oh my God.
Witnessing that horrific, undeniable act. It's the final straw for Barry. Irreversible. He defects to Batman's insurgency, declares, "I'm done taking orders."
And provides the power they need.
Immediately gives them the crucial power needed to finally topple the regime. His journey from reluctant supporter to horrified defector to agent of change makes him the story's most relatable character.
The audience's moral surrogate.
Exactly. In this world of compromised gods, he's the one reminding us of the human cost of absolute power.
After Superman's defeat, Barry's paroled, agrees to hang up the costume as penance.
For his past complicity.
But he finds this quiet, almost understated measure of personal redemption, right? Not some grand gesture.
Yes, and that's what makes it so poignant. The prequel comic to Injustice 2 shows him finding this profound personal redemption by dedicating his time to helping Galaxor.
The protester Superman crippled.
Helping him learn to walk again. It's this act of quiet atonement for his past in action. A powerful example of how true redemption isn't always about grand cosmic gestures.
But about making amends personally, confronting individual consequences.
Precisely. It demonstrates the enduring humanity at the core of the Flash, even in the darkest timelines. His speed isn't just for saving the world, it's for healing it, one person at a time.
So, wrapping this all up, you can clearly see how the Flash, across all these diverse canons,
comics, TV, movies, games, animation,
from his Golden Age origins to the animated universes, that Dark Injustice saga, He is so much more than just a fast guy in a red suit.
Absolutely.
Those core themes keep recurring. Legacy passed from Jay to Barry to Wally and beyond.
Sacrifice, embodied so powerfully by Barry's death in Crisis.
And that enduring, almost defiant hope that defines the Speedsters, even in the absolute darkest timelines. They're constants, aren't they? They define the character no matter the medium.
And if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, it really reveals the Flash's most profound, most enduring role.
What?
That of a true meta-narrative constant. He is the unique character whose powers, whose personal tragedies, even his family line, they are consistently, and I believe deliberately, used as the in-universe catalyst.
For the publisher's real-world needs.
For DC's real-world need to manage, reboot, and reflect upon its own incredibly complex history.
From creating the multiverse in the Silver Age.
To sacrificing himself to collapse it in Crisis.
From justifying the New 52 reboot with Flashpoint.
To apologizing for it with Wally's emotional return and rebirth.
The Flash doesn't just run through the DC universe.
No. In a very real sense, he is the engine that propels its constant evolution, a perpetual source of change and rebirth, forever racing toward the next horizon of storytelling.
He truly is the ultimate deep dive into DC's own story, a character whose very existence shapes the narrative canvas of an entire fictional world. Gives it meaning, gives it momentum.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So what stands out to you, our listener, from this incredible deep dive into the Flash's lore? Maybe it's the personal tragedy in the DCEU film, the cosmic significance of his comic origins, his moral struggle and injustice, or maybe how he literally created an unmade animated universes.
There are just endless layers to explore with the Scarlet Speedster.
The next time you see the Flash, remember, you're not just watching a superhero. You're witnessing the living, breathing history of an entire universe, always racing towards its next chapter. Now go forth and use this knowledge to impress your friends.